putting the implant under the muscle has really become the gold standard. And the reason is that if you have an implant over the muscle, here, I have an implant right here. Let me show you. So if the implant is over the muscle, then the only thing covering your implant is your skin. And in many women who are getting breast augmentation, they don't have a lot of breast tissue to cover the implant. So it's thin. What happens over time is the tissues will thin. You'll start seeing these ripples, and you'll see a visible edge of the implant. So aesthetically, it's not going to look good long term. The other problem, if you put the implant over the muscle, is that the scar tissue that forms around the implant tends to become harder, and the risk of capsular contracture is significantly higher. When you put the implant under the muscle, it looks like this. Here's the muscle covering the implant. The muscle is thick, even in someone who doesn't work out, even in someone you think who's super thin. That's a strong muscle. So now you have permanently this nice cushion covering your implant. So the transition from your chest to your breast is much smoother and more natural looking. You're very unlikely to see rippling over the top of the breast because it's cushioned. And the implant is constantly being moved and massaged by your muscle. So the risk of the scar getting hard and firm is very, very low. So that's why we strongly always recommend putting the implant under the muscle. There are very rare exceptions where going over the muscle would be indicated. I mean, I can go on and on, but one very obvious one is if someone's had damage to the muscle from the first surgery. Let's say I'm doing a revision case. If the muscle is permanently damaged and it can no longer cover the implant, then we really, as a surgeon, have no choice but to put it over the muscle. So that's one example. The other question about whether you cut the muscle or not, yes, in order to insert the implant under the muscle, we do have to make an incision at the bottom of the muscle, open the pocket, create a pocket under the muscle, and insert the implant that way. So the muscle of the chest has attachments in the middle of your chest on the sternum. So the right muscles are here, the left muscles here. There's always a space in between. So this is a common question I get all the time. Can we move the breasts closer together? And the answer is yes, but up to a point. What determines that point is where your muscle is. So if you can imagine, here's your muscle, it's under the muscle. I can't move your implant past that point. These attachments have to remain intact. And the reason is the muscle then attaches here and it goes to the corner of your arm, to the humerus bone. And that muscle needs these two attachments to work. Muscles work by contracting. So this muscle is what allows you to move your arm in. When you're doing a fly at the gym or you're moving anything this way, that's what is allowing the muscle literally pulling your arm in. So if you cut this part or you cut this part, it doesn't work. But you can cut down here, it makes no difference.